I was feeling a little stuck in the Go Battle League, so I decided to try something entirely different than what I was thinking I would want to try. And of course, very first battle, hard countered. I don't even know. What are the chances I see that after I build this team? Because like there's so many Skarmory leads, like Wigglytuff as a lead in this meta. I feel like it could be extremely good if it's not the Victory Bell Bastiodon team. What do you do against Skarmory lead with that? But anyways, this team, I decided to bring Charizard to a water meta. And I don't know why.
Bruh.
I wanted to use Guzzlord and Feraligatr, and this is the team that I was building in PvPoke. I thought Charizard could catch some people off guard. It's not too shabby. I mean, definitely, I haven't used regular Charizard in Great League for so long that this Charizard still had fire spin on it. But yeah, I'm just gonna showcase some of these spice. But I don't know, it is kind of spicy because there's so many Lantern in this meta. This team isn't too shabby against Lantern. It's just if we get it in the back line or it's a closer, it's pretty much game. Same thing with Ozzy. That one can be a little tough for this team as a closer, which I've been seeing a few of recently. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this season has been so difficult for me because I haven't been able to invest like a lot of time into playing. And on top of it, I just feel that the meta is like all over the place. It's really hard for me to find a team I truly like using and feels consistent. I mean, I get really bored with a lot of the meta, and I feel like when I do run it, I get hard countered by people who expect to see the meta. But then every time I try to switch it a little bit, anytime I get a good set this season, if I get like a 4-1, or dare I say a 5-0, it feels like directly after that set, no matter what, I always get like a 1-4 or a 0-5. It's like crazy. And you know, some of the plays, like I've definitely made some mistakes throughout the season, and my opponents are not easy by any chance. They're exploiting every moment that I mess up and also making great catches and such. But like, yeah, I don't know, it just feels like lately so difficult to climb, and it's like not necessarily that fun either. You know, it's like I've been spending so much time trying to climb. Like, this is so bizarre to me because back in the day, I feel like I never had issues hitting veteran. I'd always get to 2700, and you know, I've hit legend many of time in the past. But upon like getting back into the game, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me not grasping the meta properly as it's like adjusting and such, or maybe my unwillingness to run some of the strongest picks, like Shadow Gligar, for example, is a great Pokemon in this format. Not that I'm against running it or anything. I mean, I don't even know if I have one that I could use, but if I do, then maybe I should start using that. But like I said, it just feels like it's hard to find a team that just feels good enough, if that makes sense. I mean, maybe if you want to make any suggestions on what you're running in the chat, I would love to hear how your experience has been this season. But you know, my goal nowadays, like, I'm way more casual than I've ever been. Like, you know, and it's been great. Like, personally, I think this is the perfect balance for me with the game. I'm not getting too upset about losses or anything, and you know, I'm not feeling FOMO at all. Like, I've missed so many events. I mean, I don't have the Great League Giratina Origin, for example. I mean, I was playing, I'm not like the type of person that's gonna go just do raids to finish a quest line. Sorry. But yeah, anyways, my point is, I brought this team because I just feel like a lot of my teams are almost structured very similarly, typing wise, like coincidentally. So I decided to run this, which ironically is kind of similar to my other teams, just because the lead's weak to fairy, I have a water type, and then some sort of, I guess Charizard's the main thing that's kind of different on this line. But yeah, this was actually a pretty cool team. I enjoyed it. I don't really get to I've never really used Guzzlord in Great League either, and it's not too shabby as a lead in this format. I mean, there's certain things that are going to destroy this team. Like, Charjabug could, like, some Charjabug or Galvantulas could actually be extremely core breaking to this line. I mean, like I said, Lantern, problematic for the back line. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I wanted to show these battles because I ended up getting some pretty decent sets. And yeah, I've been trying to post more consistently on the channel in general. And, you know, I do want to try to hit legend, but I will admit that the drive to want to hit legend with the way the game feels isn't really there for me right now. But I do want to try to at least still put out entertaining content and bring maybe some ideas to the table that can help you with your journey in Go Battle League. I mean, I feel like every time I start a new season here, I tell myself, like the last couple seasons, I said I'm gonna play and I'm gonna really push for legend. But you know me, if you watch this channel, I can't help but lean towards spice. It's the only true way I enjoy playing Go Battle League with this type of format where it's blind. Because the thing about this type of format is it doesn't really matter. Like, okay, you can build teams that are good against losing leads for sure. And that's kind of the ideal type of line you want to build in the Great League. But the thing is, there's really no... What happened to my camera there? There's like no true consistency, unfortunately, when you're playing in a blind format. You're... Like a lot of time... Wait, why did my camera just do that? Why doesn't it autofocus? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I guess what I'm trying to say is this format is not very competitive, if that makes sense. I mean, it's like one of the most... I think I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on my channel here, but when I stream very often on Twitch, back in the day, I would mention this fairly often that, you know, it's a fun thing to enjoy, play this game, but with the way it is... I actually saw more of, I guess one of the reasons why I want to mention this is because I've seen people discussing this on Twitter about how the barrier to entry for Pokemon Go is not that great. Like if you just started an account recently and you wanted to start playing Go Battle League, you couldn't just battle with the best in like a month or two. You'd have to be grinding a lot. You have to get XL candy. And it brought up the conversation about how cheating is normalized in Pokemon Go because of people use rockers to get XL candy, people spoof to get the preferred IV spreads, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the fact that you can literally just spend money to grind certain things in the game, aka for Master League. So some people, I mean, not that that's cheating, excuse me. That part is not cheating. Let me make that clear. That's a part of the game, is microtransactions and the ability to raid. But I guess what I'm trying to get across is they were trying to make a comparison. You know, like, oh, well, cheating's been rampant in VGC for so long. I even have a video on my channel discussing the recent VGC debacle where people got banned for genning. But the thing that people don't understand, unless you're an avid VGC player like I am, like, yes, I criticize VGC for people that gen because they've made it better. And the reality is there are still some legendaries and such that you just have to soft reset non-stop. But the reality is, the difference between cheating in Go versus something like VGC is, like, even though cheating is rampant in VGC, it's actually not as determining of the meta and format as it is in Go, in my opinion. Because Go particularly creates scenarios where they want you to hunt or raid or do certain events. And what they'll do is they'll release certain Pokemon that are extremely broken for that season, and then they'll nerf it the next season after everyone's already built their Carbink or whatever. I mean, Carbink's still ranked pretty high in the Great League format right now, but like, have you really seen Carbink since its initial debut? And I'm not saying that people aren't running it or it's not even good. It's just that that's one Pokemon that was like behind the GoFest paywall that people were running immediately after, taking advantage of that, like, kind of balance, I guess, if that makes sense. And when Buzzwole came out, for example, that was a Pokemon that was giving people some advantages to some degree in the meta. Giratina Origin could arguably be one, but like, you know, anyways, I know this whole video I've just been talking about the state of Go Battle League and is it a fair game, is it balanced? I guess the point I'm trying to get across here is I still enjoy playing the game, but I've also been playing since day one. And even as a casual player, I find that kind of, even though I've built up so much in the game and I'm more casual over the last couple of years, it's really hard to still stay on top of the current meta when things are always like shifting and changing in such little increments. And like I said, a lot of times Pokemon that are really good in Go Battle League tend to be exclusive or of the rarer variety. So I do think just because, like, yes, genning in VGC is cheating, you know, but the reality is getting those same Pokemon legitimately aren't as difficult as it is in Go. Because in Go, a big part of the game is everything is randomized. The IVs are, etc. So getting certain IV spreads that tend to come out on top in the mirror, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there is still more of an advantage to someone who has the tools to get the exact thing they're looking for versus someone who's just playing authentically free. I mean, not free, but authentic in general. You know, like they're not using any devices, blah, 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 blah. I mean, even just getting XL candy in general, which is a staple for the Great League these days, is kind of a nightmare. I mean, the fact that you have to grind out an entire team just to play a blind format, it just seems kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Like, the state of this game. I mean, it's not even like the state of this game, it's just like the game in general. You know, it's not like this has changed since its initial debut, but it's just kind of odd in general. I mean, obviously it's meant to just make you play more. Like, let's be real. Like, that's the whole point of this system. Battles, your whole elo is determined on a set of 5 battles, not just like individual battles in their MMR. It's things like this that are a little odd throughout playing Go Battle League. But anyways, enough of that. Sorry, if you enjoyed that part of the rant, please consider liking, and we can always talk more about this type of stuff. You know, I'm very intrigued about Pokemon Go's history and the way it's developed. I mean, I've tried to avoid... back in the day, I used to go crazy on Twitter. I've deleted a lot of those posts, but I used to get so upset with the state of the game and the company and feeling exploited and taken advantage of. But nowadays, I just don't. Like, it just drains you. Why am I going to spend that much time when I can just stop playing, you know? So I used to get really worked up over this game. And that was when I was like really into battling. I was like top of the top. I mean, maybe not top of the top, but definitely a very competitive player. But nowadays I feel like, yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and criticize you for wanting to enjoy the game or raid the game however you want to. But yeah, it's just kind of like one of those situations where I watch it on the sidelines and I see people having these conversations like, you know, about exclusivity in Pokemon Go, and it's like I'm glad people are talking about it, but this is not news. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny that it takes people so long to just like, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, this battle right here, this guy made such a crazy. This set was really good up to this. Like, this person, they must. I mean, obviously, if you're counting, you're gonna know that because this Skarmory was ahead, they assume I was gonna bait, and honestly, extremely ballsy because I don't always bait. I sometimes just go straight for the Blast Burn, and if I would have just went for Blast Burn, it would have just been GG with 2 shields. But my opponent makes an amazing call, and they actually don't bait. And that second one that they didn't bait, shield, excuse me, I was like, dang, I could have actually still got the Blast Burn off here, and I was going to because I didn't think there was a win con after that first one connecting. So GG's there. Alright, in this next battle, I'll focus more on the battles moving forward in this video. I do get the Registeel lead, which is not great for Guzzlord, so I'm going to insta-swap into Shadow Feraligatr. Let me just take a moment here to say, this Pokemon's super cool now. I mean, Feraligatr's Shadow variant actually hits like a truck as a safe swap. Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the more interesting safe swaps that are in the game now that it got its Shadow Claw debut. But yeah, for the most part, this is not like horrible. It's not like great, but I'm not gonna be able to win switch here regardless. So I'm just gonna take it, you know, take the damage, and then I think what I end up doing here is I actually just bring in the Guzzlord again. And even though it has Reggie, I think I'm trying to think what I did. I think they bring in Reggie here, and I switch. No, oh yeah, for some reason. Oh, I guess it makes sense. They wanted to bring Wigglytuff. I guess both of their Pokemon do pretty good against Guzzlord here. But luckily for me, that both of the backline here are afraid of Charizard. So a little scary here, but fortunately this Blast Burn, even with the Zap Cannon attack drop, I will be able to connect it and remove Registeel. And fortunately for me, this Wigglytuff will just... Well, honestly, it can't. Excuse me. I sacrificed Guzzlord because I do have energy and I could potentially do something, but I just wanted to remove Wigglytuff's energy, and that was kind of the call there. All right, so I think I shut that a little bit early, but that should have been a 4-1 set. And in this was a good lead for me. The most ideal scenario that I can see Lantern with this team. And yeah, I know I kind of ranted there about Go Battle League a lot, but I mean, we're all playing it and we all have opinions on how it feels. So make sure, again, if you enjoyed that part of the conversation, if you want to add any of your 2 cents, even if you just want to give me a recommendation for a team you've enjoyed playing this season, it doesn't even have to be in Great League. If you're playing in Ultra League or Master League, let me know. Because I'm still enjoying making content and playing the game, but then when I start losing, I just stop playing for the night. I just can't, like, even if I'm trying to make content, if you've noticed, I don't post every day. I don't post sometimes even every week. And that's because I'm not, like, I only want to make content when I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. And like, even if I'm losing or, you know, maybe not hitting legend every season right now, I mean, it makes sense with the way the skill curve has gone up, and you know, I'm just such a Spice Lord that I would rather run Spice and enjoy the battles than I am winning and playing than play meta and then constantly get countered by people that are thinking like how I think. You know, it's like there's something about it. But again, you know, the meta's meta for a reason. You know, I'm not gonna knock it. I mean, I think reality is, if I played it more consistently, like maybe that is the key, is just try to stick to something that's already been proven to be relatively powerful, and even if I get bad leads, stick it out, you know. But Dewgong also in this, for this team, is actually kind of difficult. I want to point out, Dewgong can be problematic if we don't play around that Pokemon properly. So I get a Mantine lead here in this next battle, and yeah, I'm just gonna stay in because they're not even trying to like bait me type of scenario. Like they're just going straight aerial aces. I guess maybe they didn't want to, like, maybe in the scenario where they go for Ice Beam my shield, then maybe that's worse for Mantine. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, knowing that they aren't Ice Beams, I didn't think I needed the shield whatsoever. In comes Dunsparce, so I'm going to insta-swap into Shadow Feraligatr. And yeah, we get hit with a Drill Run. That's quite okay. I'm going to take at least one of them, and I think from here I can outpace by hitting them with Hydros, and I can commit the shield. But yeah, again, that whole discussion is unscripted. I don't even know like what it sounds like. I'm not trying to come off in any negative way. I'm just trying to say it's okay, as if you're feeling frustrated with the game, don't. Like, just try to do something different. If you're feeling a little frustrated with the game, come back to it. It'll always be the same, I promise you, to a degree. I mean, unless they have another update. I'm not going to get into the recent update about things, because not everything will stay the same. Anyways, I mean, I do think the backgrounds are an improvement. I will give credit where credit's due. But if you know anything about my content, I mean, even back in the day, I always criticized the poses and the animations in this game. I've always felt that the characters feel lifeless and hollow, and all of their poses they make are not even, they don't feel like authentic, if that makes sense. Like it feels like they're just posing from their mind, but they're not actually looking at life references of someone standing in that pose to see how would it actually look. Like, a lot of the poses and such don't bear any true weight to them, which is a skill that's really difficult to pull off in drawing in general, like figure drawing and such. But yeah, it just has always bothered me. So I was just cracking up recently with this current update with the avatars. Again, I said I wasn't gonna say anything, but it just cracks me up so hard because I've seen people get so mad about it. Rightfully so, you know, if you spent money on cosmetics, but yeah, I was cracking up because like I've always felt that these, like, just the original avatars were just like lifeless and poorly designed. And now they put this out. Oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, that last battle, like, complete. I think that person was running Trevenant. Maybe they were seeing a lot of Ozzy closers. That's something I've been noticing a lot recently. But again, I feel like unless I'm playing daily, it's really hard for me to keep up with the current trend of what's going on, because it's kind of like a cyclical thing in GBL. I mean, it's like an unwritten thing that's occurring, is the meta slightly shifts. And yeah, it's like sometimes you just gotta like lick your finger, put your finger up and feel where the wind's blowing. But yeah, it could be, this is so hard right here, this battle. Like I said, Dewgong can be problematic, and I think the way I was playing this was kind of, you know, unfortunate. I probably should have committed some of the shields there, but yeah, I think that was my main misplay here, is like not shielding there. And I mean, to be honest, the fact that they had a lantern, I realized this wasn't gonna matter. Oh yeah, I mean, literally 2 Pokemon on this team that are really difficult for my backline to deal with. So, I mean, Dewgong overall is just kind of a tough Pokemon for my entire team to deal with. Not that it's impossible to deal with, but when there's a couple of these sharing space on the same team, it can be problematic. So, yeah, I'm trying my best to play more consistently this week, because I've been so busy with other stuff that, yeah, I feel like I was a little rusty. But as always, I appreciate you checking out my video, and definitely consider liking, commenting, subscribing if you enjoyed GBL content. With that being said, the Sass Squad is getting stronger each and every day. Good morning, evening, afternoon, for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next one. If you want to watch more Go Battle League content from me, consider watching this video right here, this video right here.